guys, today I'm bringing you a review of a book that I've really wanted to talk about for ages, but I've only just got round to reading it. I was sent a copy of The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas last summer, and I've only just got round to reading it, reading lists and various different things. I honestly thought when I asked for the book whether or not I would like it or not, but I thought I need to at least try something that's a bit out of my depth, a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's just been awarded Waterstones Childrens Book of the Year, and for older readers, the older readers section as well. I thought, well, what better time to talk about it than when everyone's going to be asking what it's about and what it's got to do with. So the book itself is set in this sort of rough neighbourhood. It follows Star, who has recently lost her friend to gun crime. Her friend was shot in amongst gang crimes, etc. And it sort of follows what happens to her afterwards and what the consequences are of those actions, what happens to her family, how they get treated, and how the court case is dealt with. It's very strange to read a book that is so raw and real almost, without it being a true story. I'm going to totally ruin the continuity of this because I can't see a thing. The whole story follows Star and the court case and what happens and how it affects her neighbourhood and her friends and her family and how she relates with people at school. It's very interesting to read a book about a story like this. I have seen so many films and TV series pop up that introduces gang culture and talks about gang culture and sort of talks about teenagers and how they deal with it. But I've never read a book about it that has not only spoken to me in terms of feeling so real, but also doesn't feel like it's patronising the reader. What I find with young adult books sometimes is that it almost talks to the young reader like they don't understand the concept of this tragedy or this thing that has happened in real life. And what I find really interesting is that you see Star go through this sort of grieving process throughout the book, and there's sort of, she's angry, she's upset, to she kind of learns to accept what has happened. She's not forgiven what has happened, but she's learned to accept it, and so she's trying to find some reconciliation from it out of the whole scenario. Again, I find it such an interesting read because it's so relevant to what is happening in America now. It's so relevant, especially this week with the March for Our Lives protest march, which is happening in America, across America this weekend. So I don't think that this book could have come at a better time in terms of it winning this award and it becoming so heightened. I honestly don't think I could think of a more perfect media to show both adults and young adults and younger children the reality of what is going on, and sort of how, yes, these are fictional characters, yes, these people don't really exist, but there are so many stories like it, and it infuriates me that you have to write in fiction for people to think this is really shocking, this is something that shouldn't be happening, and yet when you talk about it in real life, people just switch off. I find the book really interesting in terms of there's sort of a tale of two halves. You have the sort of almost with Star acknowledging what's happened to her and kind of getting through the grief process of that and sort of sitting on what is going to happen, and then the trial happens and something completely, and it almost completely turns on its head. I'm not going to give too much away as to what. It just, for me, it was almost like this sort of amazing turning point, or sort of like we're gonna stand together and we're going to fight for this to change, really changing dynamic of a book, and I've not seen something like that happen in a very long time. I would recommend it to sort of 14 and up, maybe, just because there's a fair bit of swearing, there's a fair bit of sort of foul language, as it were, in it. But if you feel, as an adult, if you feel like you've read the book and you want to recommend it to someone slightly younger who is a bit more mature reader who would understand it and appreciate it and not repeat the foul language, then by all means recommend it to them as well. But I think man, woman and teenager should read this just for the pure sake of understanding that whilst this is a fiction book, this is really happening. These things are really happening to people, and it's happening to young people who shouldn't have to experience it, full stop. So I would highly recommend the book because it's such a talking point at the moment. I think it's one of those books that is going to be so present in amongst everything that's going on with what's happening with gun crime, etc., and gang culture. And I feel like it's going to be one of those really poignant, it's going to be one of those really poignant books that marks the time that we were living in, and I'm going to remember what was happening when I read that book. Show a little bit of love to Angie on Instagram as well, because it's an incredible book. If you have read it, please comment below, tell me what you think about it. I would love to hear what other people think of this book. It would be amazing. So I'll speak to you soon, guys. See you, bye. Bye.